Hi class, today I'm going to talk to you about benefiting from physical therapy. Many will ask, how am I going to benefit from physical therapy? What is physical therapy going to do for me? Many people will come to us and they'll be like, I don't need y'all, I can do it on my own, I can do my exercises at home, I am not going to benefit from physical therapy. Well, in some cases, that's true, but in other cases, physical therapy is the number one key to getting better, other than being motivated yourself to do them outside of physical therapy. I currently work at a physical therapy office. This is my boss. We work at Powhatan Physical Therapy. He is the only PT, and we have 2 PTAs, and then I'm a tech. With all the patients we see, we have all talked to them, and their testimonies of, they would have never been in the spot they were in without physical therapy. We have people that come in that are upset because they can't wash their own hair, they can't drive their own car, they rely on everybody else. It's even the simplest things as playing fetch with your dog or walking your dog. We had a lady come in, and she's one of my all-time favorite patients, but she was so upset because she had a frozen shoulder and she could not throw to her own, she couldn't play fetch with her dog. So her leaving was a big thing because she could finally play fetch with her dog, and that's all she really wanted to benefit from. And she had a new grandbaby, so that was a big deal too. Many people will ask me, why is physical therapy so important? Why does everybody make a big deal about it? Well, the definition of physical therapy is the treatment of disease, injury, or deformity by physical methods such as massage, heat and ice treatment, and exercise. The goal of physical therapy is to strengthen your patients so that they can get back to their everyday lives. When we get a patient in our office, the very first thing we do is we heat them. This is a heat pack. We have a clay heat pack that we sit down in a hydroculator that is set temperature of 160 degrees, and they sit down in them all day long. Then we put them between 2 cloth pads, and whatever they're for, whether they're a knee, a shoulder, or a back, we have all different shapes and sizes. But we start them with that because the heat helps loosen the patient's muscles. It helps increase blood flow to those certain areas so that it helps the healing process. When it loosens the muscles, it helps us get that patient to where they need to be with their range of motion. After we heat them and run them through their exercises and stretch them, we start them on ice. So this little dude, he is an ice pack. Obviously not the ice packs we use at work, but he is my ice pack. And we tend to put heat on our patients if they're sore, if they have inflammation on the skin or under the skin. If they are super, super swollen, we tend to make sure we ice them at our clinic. Now, some patients, they'll be like, oh, I'll ice at home, I promise, and we can tell when people are doing things at home, such as heating, icing, doing their exercises, because the patients that do tend to benefit from physical therapy faster than others. We have this here at my clinic. It is called the Game Ready. We also call it the Squeeze and Freeze. It literally does what it said, what the name is. There is a sleeve that you can get it for your shoulders, your forearms, your biceps, your triceps. Your wrists, your hands, your ankles, your knees, anything you can think of. They have a compression sleeve for this machine. There is a hose that hooks to the end right there, and it connects to this sleeve. So we have them for our knee patients and our ankle patients. So we tend to do the knee one with our patients that have just had a knee replacement. It forces them to get their knee in full extension. Many of our knee replacements do not like this machine because it forces them to be straight, and it's not necessarily painful, it's just uncomfortable. We also tend to do it on our fractured ankles, broken ankles. We tend to do it on those types of things. Many patients love it because it helps their swelling. It helps the achy feeling. We get good things about this. Actually, one of the PTAs I work with says that if there's ever a fire, that he's going to save the Game Ready instead of us. So, obviously, it's a good machine. Lastly, I'm going to talk to you about stretching, whether it's you're stretching yourself or whether it's somebody such as your physical therapist or physical therapist assistant stretching you. The main point of stretching yourself would have to be, making sure you don't tear the tendons or the ligaments or the muscles in your body. Making sure you're pushing those muscles to your full extent as much as you can to stretch them so that they're not super, super tight. Because the tighter you are, the more likely you're going to tear, pull, do something to those muscles or ligaments or tendons that you're not going to want to do. Taking it from me, I'd never really stretched before softball games, and I have torn many, many ligaments in my knees. I've had many, many different things wrong with knees, ankles, hamstrings, arms. I was a pitcher and I messed my rotator cuff up, but I mean, there's not a million gazillion things you could do for certain things like that, but stretching a little bit here and there you're going to benefit from it. So make sure you do that. Now, when it comes to a physical therapist stretching you or a physical therapist assistant stretching you, it is more of getting a range of motion, more of them pushing you to, where you couldn't push yourself, getting you to the point where you feel like you're benefiting from physical therapy. We have many patients that are like, man, I just can't get this arm any further. But if you think about it, when you're pushing your own arm, say you're pushing it up, you're tending to tense. So when you're tensing, you're not getting that full range of motion. Now, when when you're just laying there and a physical therapist is moving your arm and you're relaxed, physical therapist is going to get your arm further. So just like Greg here in this picture, he is mobilizing that ankle. He is stretching that ankle so that person can get more range of motion in his ankle. In conclusion, working in a physical therapist clinic, I have heard horror stories. I have heard miracle stories. I have heard testimonies from, all over the place. And I think it's absolutely amazing how people not only benefit from this physically, but they benefit from it mentally. That is a huge thing. A mentally relief when it comes to things like this is a huge part. I feel as though anyone and everyone can benefit from physical therapy. So thank you for listening.